Hello and welcome to the Quever channel. I'm Jason, your host. We're going to talk about a unpleasant set of situations at the moment. So this may trigger some people, so you may not want to watch. The UK government is trying to say that panic and anxiety do not qualify as disabilities. As everybody gets stressed, everybody has a panic attack. Oh yes, everybody. Oh, you get all the normal people come out of the woodwork and say, "Oh yes, I've had stress and I've done this and that. It doesn't stop me working. It hasn't stopped me working." So we need to have a little bit of context here. Yes, I'm a bit frazzled at the moment. I managed to have a shower this morning, and it's basically I don't have much energy in there. I really need to go down and get my drink, but I'm here instead because I don't want to go downstairs because then I've got to come back upstairs. That's my logic at the moment. So I'm here. At some point in time today, I will go down and get my drink when my mental energy is there. So I'm going to talk about two specific situations. You see, first of all, let's talk about my situation. My official diagnosis is autistic spectrum disorder. I think it's autistic spectrum, yeah. And with comorbidities in ADHD, bipolar type 2, I also have PTSD and grief issues, and I also have, let's just say, fun things have happened, interesting things have happened. I'm logical, I'm rational, I focus. I always said to people, the reason I have so many coping strategies is because bad things can happen. Now, one of the bad things that can happen is panic and anxiety. Because believe me, when you're dealing with certain issues, they can amplify. And bad things happen if I don't do my coping strategy. This is what I'm doing now. This is one of my primary coping strategies. Every single day since 2019, I make a vlog. I don't edit. I don't do anything with it. It's just I put what's in here, whatever's in here, out there every day. This is part of my therapy. If only it's the equivalent of me having a personal therapist every single day, because I can just talk to the camera. And I don't suggest everybody does what I do because, yeah. So let's talk about anxiety and panic attacks. There can be so many. And remember, I'm not unique. I'm not the worst. I'm off. This is just two experiences that I can tell you. And then you tell me if these are disabling. Well, I developed GERD. I didn't know it was GERD. All I knew was that acid started to creep up my throat. This was to do with my bowel cancer. They removed 40% of my bowels, and it caused my gastric system to slow down to the point that more acid was being, over time, just picked up, and I didn't know this was happening. I didn't know this is happening. And this triggered the start of my panic attacks and anxiety. And it's one of the most crippling times I've ever felt. I lost 15 kilograms of weight in under a month. I literally couldn't eat. If you go back to the videos of 2021 and then November around, I think it's 2021, 2022, a bit fuzzy on that. It's a fun time. So what happened exactly? One afternoon I felt a pressure in my throat. Felt like my throat was constricting. I didn't know why. And I tried to drink, I tried to take anything, I tried to do anything. But my throat started to shut down. I didn't know that this was the acid inflaming my throat. Once you do know it's GERD, and you know that if you lay down after you've had something that doesn't agree with you, and that acid could go up your throat and into your lungs and kill you and eat away your lungs, it makes it even worse. But if not knowing was a bad thing. And so I'm sitting there on a Saturday afternoon in my chair, and I can breathe, but I'm forcing it. And feels like there's something in my throat, and I want to swallow, but something's stopping me from swallowing. Something's actually stopping me from swallowing, and I'm sitting there, and I go through all my normal coping strategies, and I try to do meditation. I try putting my VR headset on and doing meditation, and I try everything to distract myself. All my normal coping strategies weren't working. I didn't know what this was, and slowly, over the next 12 hours, I felt I was dying. I thought that the moment I swallowed, that my throat would close up and I would choke to death and die. And I was absolutely 100% had a belief in this, to the point where I rang the ambulances service. I rang the 999, and they came out to me. And I was so in the full onset of it, my heart was racing, my entire body was freaking out to the point where I could hardly move. And I remember the paramedic holding my hands and joking with me there, saying that basically, well, if your throat does close up when you do this, you're in the best situation now, you've got yours here. And they talked me down through it and helped me to actually breathe and swallow. It still happens. It still happens, because if I eat something that I don't know, or something affects my acid production in my stomach, and it starts to go up my throat now, that can kick off a panic and anxiety attack. Panic and anxiety attacks can be triggered by any kind of issues. It doesn't just have to be a physical issue. And I was completely disabled. I was completely thingy, and I had to create an entire new set of coping strategies over the years to cope with it, because I know that bad things can happen, that I can think about something that my brain can go in a bad direction, and because of my ADHD, it won't switch tracks, and it's going to focus on something bad. And if it focuses on something bad and I don't pull myself out of it, the depression, clinical depression from the thingy, if it all hits at the same time, it can be a very bad thing, no matter how rational I am. And so having all my coping strategies is a good thing. Now I want to talk about my wife, Paula. She passed away in 2018, and for 20 years she coped with what's called an incurable type of cancer, acute lymphoblastic leukemia with Philadelphia chromosome positive. It basically meant no matter what you did with it, it was going to come back. So she had lots of medication, lots of things. We fought it for so long, but the panic attacks were terrible. And once again, she was a very rational, intelligent person, a very strong person. When they told her that it was cancer, when they told her on the first weeks when it was dying, and basically told her that it was incurable, she didn't fall apart. She said, okay, what now? She was ready to fight. I loved her. She was amazing. She was ready to fight. But I saw the panic attacks. My wife was only 5 foot. And with all the damage and cancer and from the medications to keep it at bay for so many times, she was on a medication that basically slowly destroyed her body but kept the cancer from auto-initiating in her bone marrow. So it allowed her to survive, but it was killing her at the same time. And so one night, and this is not one of the worst ones, this is just one of the ones I remember with such clarity, she was lying on the bed, and I came in, and she was shaking. And I'm not just talking shaking, she was shaking to the point that physically her entire body was shuddering and moving, and she was looking at me with eyes that were imploring and saying, I can't stop. I can't stop it. That's all she kept saying. And I held her hand, and she was moving so violently. This 5-foot waif of a woman was moving so violently with this panic attack and anxiety attack that the bed itself was moving. And it wasn't a small bed, it was a metal bed. She was vibrating so much, her entire body's muscles were straining and moving in this violent movement. And all we could do was try to slowly get through it. And afterwards, she had bruises around her torso. The movements of her muscles had been so violent due to this panic attack that she bruised herself. And she had pain breathing for about a week afterwards. And that isn't the worst panic attacks. Those are just 2 examples I can give you of panic and anxiety and how disabling, how destructive they can be, how they can totally... This isn't like, oh, I've got a bit of stress, I'm just a bit of a problem and that, oh my God, they haven't got my latte. This isn't that. And any fucking idiot in government who tries to portray people with anxiety and panic attacks as not being disabled has no fucking clue and shouldn't even be in government or be allowed to open their mouth. No, it's not fun. It's not a fun thing at all. This is Jason for the Queber channel. I hope you're all having a good day.